So welcome again. So yeah, before I go on, actually, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Diana Milanovic, and I'm the EL coordinator, Experiential Learning Coordinator for Social Science, and I support students interested in gaining paid work experience during their undergraduate degree. I also have a huge team of support through Careers and Experience. So Eileen's here with me tonight or today to help out with the chat and answer any questions that you might have or direct them to me. Eileen works also in experiential learning. We also have employer relations who helps find the job opportunities for you through this program, and career education, which supports your preparation. So just to give you a sense of what we do, we are in UCC 210, so right above the former Starbucks or the Mustang Lounge in the UCC, if you want to drop by and see what other services are available to you as a Western student related to careers. Yesterday we had the career fair, so hopefully some of you were able to attend or found it valuable. So yeah, welcome today. So in terms of you, I'd love to know who's here tonight, just to understand. I keep saying tonight, I'm sorry, we had another evening session this week. So I'm going to launch a poll, and if you could just share your area of study. And if you are a double major, you know, maybe pick the one that you think is most relevant in this scenario, as well as your year of study. So we are interested in reaching students in year 2, 3, and 4, but if you're in first year, it's actually great that you're here to learn ahead of time and hear about the program. So we're almost there. Great. So I'm going to share this. So we've got some anthropology students here today, Dan management, economics, geography and environment, international relations, political science, and psychology. That's great. It's good to see representation. So as you know, this is a faculty-wide program. So if you have friends in any area of study, feel free to share what you learned today. So what we'll cover is a program overview and some of the benefits of doing an internship through the university, the application process and timeline, how you can apply. And then we do have a student panel today, which I'm really excited about. These are students who've done an internship through the program, and they're here to just share some of their experience and give you a sense of what's possible through this program. And of course, at the end, we'll have questions. I will encourage people to hold your questions till the end, because we will go through and likely answer many of them in the content. But if you have a clarification, a quick clarification question on a particular slide, Eileen will be looking at the chat, and she'll either flag it for me to answer at the end or during the session. So you can use the chat as well. All right, so what is the social science internship program? What we're here to talk about today is the short-term option, which is basically Western's cooperative education opportunity for social science students. It allows you to gain between 10 weeks and 4 months of paid career-related work experience between your 2nd and your 4th year of study. Most commonly, the internship is taken in the summer, and that's largely due to the fact that it is a full-time job and it's your priority for that term. So we don't allow students to take credits alongside the internship. It's really meant to be your focus. So summer tends to be also when employers are looking for interns as well. And then it does allow you to gain a 0.5 elective credit towards your degree plan. So, you know, we always encourage you to look at your checklist with an academic counselor, but for the most part, students have room to add this as an elective and maybe reduce their course load later on in future years. And it also allows you to reflect that experience on your transcript. I'm also just going to mention that we introduced the long-term option for all social science students this year. So this is equivalent to, some of you may have heard of the Dan Management Internship Program. This is the equivalent for anyone outside of Dan Management who wants to do a bigger internship between 3rd and 4th year. It's a year long, and it would begin in May or September of your 4th year. You earn a 1.0 through that program, and it does extend your graduation. So it's a much bigger commitment. You end up doing a 5-year degree plan. So just keeping that in mind, if you're thinking about next year, you can combine programs, but we're here today to talk about the short term, just something for your awareness. All right, so in terms of internship outcomes, I'm curious just to hear why people are here today. What is it about an internship that you think you will gain personally, professionally? What are you hoping to get out of an internship? So you could just enter that in the chat, a couple words or reasons. Experience, yes. Experience. Connections, for sure. Personal connections, building your network. Work experience, absolutely. And Angela says, yeah, specifically in the field that she's interested in, she wants experience. And money, absolutely. So they are all paid internships through this program. And yeah, Michaela, a more career-focused summer job. So I'm sure many of you have worked in retail or hospitality, which are great ways to gain hands-on experience. And we're going to encourage you to share those on your resume when you're looking for internships. But yeah, taking it to the next level and moving toward maybe a more career-focused role. So that sounds great. Yeah, Ivy, similarly, a career-related skill set. Thank you. So here are some of the things that we think you gain as well. So really, internship is a great opportunity to develop your career skills, how to go through the recruitment process, in terms of identifying who you are as a professional and being able to articulate to future employers what you can offer. And so by doing an internship, it allows you some structured time to dedicate to that work. It is, something that takes practice. So we hope that, doing an internship allows you to gain that experience well before graduation. It's something that won't be your last time going through. So this is just the beginning of your journey. The second is our skills articulation. So you'll be able to, hopefully through this program, have a better understanding of how your volunteer experience, clubs, part-time jobs can be applied in a professional context. Third, the prototyping of a career path. So internship is really low risk. It's a 4-month, opportunity to engage in an employer who's ready to support you. They know you're a student. They are working with Western. You have us in your corner, and you can test something out and see if you're suitable to the career or the function that you're in a very practical way. And lastly, it could propel your next move. So you may find a great fit in an internship and decide to continue to invest in that area of work, continue to build your network. Conversely, you might say, that really wasn't for me. I'm going to look elsewhere, or maybe I'd rather try a smaller firm next time or work for a nonprofit next time. My values don't align. All of those things can be discovered through an internship. So that said, how does an academic internship differ from just finding an internship on your own, which you could do? The first is that tailored career development guidance and resources. So Western is equipped with many tools, and myself as well as your dedicated staff person to connect you to what's available. So these are things like interview preparation, resume reviews, all of those important things to make sure that you're positioning yourself for success. The second is that you do gain the credit, so it is something you can integrate into your education. The third being the internship portal. So we're lucky enough to have many strong relationships with employers who want to hire Western social science students. So you will see through our portal, once you're approved for the program, some jobs are exclusive to students enrolled in an academic internship, and employers prefer to work with co-op or internship schools. On the other hand, we don't want to restrict you to just that, so we also post and vet opportunities that may be available to students at all universities or across the board. You might find it on LinkedIn as well, but we put it up so that you can see it and have access to everything that would fit this program's requirements. So just keeping that in mind, it's a kind of a consolidated place to look for internships. And then lastly, the feedback and support. So oftentimes recruitment is not a linear process. You may hit a roadblock, not get any responses. And so just having our team behind you to work through those problems is really valuable. And I think it allows you to be persistent and feel supported to get that job offer that you're looking for. So in terms of what employers want, oftentimes students ask, my grades, is that the thing that I should be really thinking about in terms of what employers are looking for? I'm a psychology student. Do I have to be in business to apply for a communications role? No, the most important thing to employers is really your soft skills or your human skills. So how you communicate, how you problem solve, how you can collaborate within a team. These are the things that employers are most interested in when recruiting. That said, we recognize that your degree is going to give a sense of what you're passionate about, what you're interested in. So that's the juggle of finding how to position yourself as a professional and show the translation of what you do in school to the workplace. In terms of salary, we just wanted you to know and be transparent that as we offer paid internships, this is from the last 2 years of the program, what students were offered. So the average salary is about $20 an hour or $40,000 a year. And that is competitive, I would say. In terms of minimum wage, I think just went up to $15.50 this month. So that would be the lowest we would allow, an employer to offer you. And then we have had some really high salaries, which is awesome. So this is a great way, as I think it was Angela said, to make some money over the summer. We'll also be hands-on career-related experience. So what you can expect, the world of work is changing. We have not just in-person opportunities, but hybrid and remote is alive and well. So if you're thinking about where you want to be in the summer or during your internship term, most of the opportunities are located either in the Greater Toronto area or London area as a base. And then again, they may have a remote option or a hybrid option. So something to think about. The other thing is, in terms of sector, we mostly do see private sector. So the big banks, consulting firms are largely represented on our portal, but we do have government positions as well. And nonprofit tends to come later in the year, but they do post when the funding is available. So if that's something of interest, we should talk about that. It's a little bit unique. And then startups as well. So large London-based startups, have worked with us in the past to find students to support their work. So if you're kind of more entrepreneurial, you like the idea of putting your hands in a lot of different pots, then startup might be a good fit for you. And then in terms of what you would do, any function really is available. We don't limit students by area of study of what you can do. So these are just a few examples. Again, we've seen finance students do HR positions. We've seen psychology students do communications. It's a wide variety. We've seen, policy roles as well, and research. So keep in mind, I think a few of our interns today will speak to some of those experiences. And then in terms of the competition, I've alluded to that it varies. Some postings you may be competing with thousands of students from across Canada, and in others you may be just competing with the Western cohort. All right, so in terms of eligibility, the first thing to be mindful of is that we do require a 70% average in your previous year of study. So that's your previous 5.0 courses. If you're really close, let's say you have a 68, but you took some summer courses and that bumps you up, we will look at that. So we want to include as many people as we can and make this available to you. Main campus social science. So if you are from an affiliate college or really, if you're from an affiliate college, our program wouldn't be a good fit, but there are options for you through those colleges. So I would encourage you to look at your website and reach out. I can provide a contact if you struggle to find somebody. And you do need to be in a major honor specialization or specialization in social science. That you have completed 1 year of study. So just again, unfortunately, first year students are not eligible at this time. And then lastly, that you're in good standing with your department and your module. A few other things to consider. So if you are a transfer student, either from a different faculty or university, or taking a second degree, we might just need to see your transcript from your former institution, which you can email to this email here, socialscienceintern@uwo.ca. but we'll definitely consider you and try to make the program work for you. For all students, the big consideration is that internship is the priority during your work term. So while we do offer winter and fall internships, it's very important to think through your academic plan, because we don't allow coursework. So if you're going to dedicate your winter term to an internship, we strongly encourage you to talk to an academic counselor about shifting your coursework to the summer. What would that look like? What's available? So it's not for everyone, and it's worked for students in the past, but just a big kind of flag there that it would shift a lot of your planning and your course enrollment. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about it further. Fourth year students. So we're happy to have fourth year students do an internship toward the end of their degree. It's almost more like a capstone or a last part of your experience before you graduate. But just be mindful that because you're a current student during your internship, that it could push your graduation to the fall term. Here's your adjudication, because it is a 0.5 credit. So just something to be mindful of. And lastly, I'm sure we have some IB AEO status students here today. So again, if you're really thinking that you're going to be going to Ivy after your second year, this course wouldn't count towards your HBA requirements. So again, you can still take it. We'd be happy to have you, but it may be at an additional cost to you or course on your degree plan. All right, so how does it work? If you're interested, you think this program's for you and you do want to apply, you can submit your application of interest on Western Connect. So that's connect.uwo.ca. And the deadline is coming up, so it's October 19th. I'm going to show you a screenshot of the form. It's very basic. It's really just a way for us to assess you academically, that you're eligible, and get you into the portal. So once you receive that big stamp of approval, this is where some of the commitment comes in on your end. Fall term really is the preparation phase, so you will complete some workshops. We hope that they're valuable. Well, we believe they are valuable to position you for success. So in early November, we'll be hosting a workshop on resume development. You'll submit a resume for feedback, so just a draft, something that you've used to incorporate the feedback. We'll give you feedback by the end of November, and then there is a cover letter workshop as well. Now, there won't be a cover letter assignment. That's just additional content we really want you to have as you work through and go through this process. We also offer a Clifton Strengths Assessment. So that's getting to the whole professional brand and how you can position your strengths towards recruiters and employers. We think this is a valuable tool and assessment to participate in. And we'll touch on Clifton Strengths in the workshops as well, how you can apply it on your resume, cover letter, and that sort of thing. A flag for international students here today that you do have to have a co-op work permit. So how it works is we will send you a letter confirming your enrollment after you've been approved. That letter can be used towards your government application, and Western International is here to help you with any questions you have about that application process. And so once you're approved, you'll get that letter. I'll share more information about how you can reach out to IASC or Western International, and then you would apply for that permit before winter term. So we encourage you to apply as soon as possible in November, December, to make sure that you're approved in time. So winter term is really when the rubber hits the road in terms of applying to jobs. That's when we see a big peak. Eileen actually manages the portal and works through the opportunities with employers. And so she can attest to how much activity comes through between January and March. So that's when you want to be ready to go and be applying to all the positions of interest. We will also support you through an interview skills workshop and be available through our regular office hours so that you feel ready for that process. And then in terms of receiving an offer, it can happen at any time. So we actually do have postings going up now, some early postings. And even if you haven't had your resume review, you can still apply. As soon as you get access to the portal, go ahead and apply. but it is very continuous. So some students are offered jobs in May for a June start, even in the summer. So it does take some persistence. If you're not getting feedback right away or an offer, don't give up, keep going. And then lastly, just to clarify, a big question might be, when do I enroll in the course? Is there a fee? So essentially, once you receive that job offer, that is when we put you in the academic course, and you pay a $500 fee for that course in place of tuition. So it's just $500, and there's no academic penalty if you don't receive a job offer. You just carry on with your degree for no cost or penalty. So really, it's a great way to gain that career experience, and whether or not you move on, hopefully you're taking some skills with you for the next time. So how to apply? This is a screenshot of what Western Connect should look like for you. Just head to the Intern Co-op home, and you'll see a button in the top right corner where you can select the internship program. We're right at the bottom, so just scroll all the way down. And this is what the form looks like. So think carefully about what term you're seeking. As I said, summer tends to be what we encourage, but if you are open to a winter, you can select that, or fall. We also encourage you to click through the policies of the program, again, just to know what you're getting into and how it works. And then lastly, there is a survey. So we'd love to hear from you on employers of interest, geographic areas of interest, anything that you want us to be aware of in terms of the opportunities you're looking for. The survey is your way to communicate that to us. And a big question, can I look outside of the internship portal for postings? Yes, you can. We know that there is a hidden job market, that people often find success through networking, LinkedIn, going to coffee chats, networking events. These are things that we strongly support you with and encourage you with. If you do have, people in Calgary, and we mostly post in Ontario, we're happy to help you navigate, informational interviews or strategies, but definitely go for it and use all the resources available to you. In terms of when you find a job outside of our portal, we just need to assess it for course credit. So I've linked here the page, see Arranging Your Own Internship, where it outlines what the job qualities have to be. Essentially paid, full-time, and career related. But I'm going to send these slides out after, so you're welcome to click on that link and explore more. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna assume that we don't have too many questions. I think we're okay to just move on to the panel. So if the panel doesn't mind just turning on your camera so we can see you, that would be great. Hi, Rob. There's Alexi. Hello. Robin and Mohammed, thank you so much for being here today, guys. I'm really happy to see you. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then students who are here, you're welcome to ask questions in the chat as well, and we will get to that at the end of the panel so they can respond to you. But just to start, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you each introduce yourself, what you did for your internship, and then if you could share just a brief description of your main project or your key responsibility on internship, that would be great. So I think we'll just go ahead and start with Mohammed. You can go ahead.
Hi, so my name is Mohammed. As you can see, I did my internship at London Economic Development Corporation here in London as a research and special projects intern. So I was responsible for researching about companies that we could potentially bring to London, researching about economic development in London. So in terms of like growth, immigration, workforce development, education, all that stuff. I helped advertise like film locations for film companies to come film in London, like some estimating like costs, doing things like these. And I also worked on like special projects like international student card for Western University students. Yeah, that was my role.
Awesome, thanks, Mohammed. Let's go with Raha.
Hi everyone, my name's Raha. I'm currently in 4th year and I'm doing an honors level major in psychology and sociology. this past summer, I worked at the Canadian Cancer Society as like a research assistant or intern. And I think when you see like research assistant, it kind of gives you the fact, like it kind of seems like I did actual research, but I didn't. I worked under the research team. And for some context, one of the new things in cancer research and funding is including patient, caregiver, survivors, or people who have lived experience with cancer. And they're involved in the funding process. And one of the major things I worked on was their training program and giving them all the information to be able to be part of that funding process. So when I came in, there's a lot of feedback that they had because they had done surveys about how it seemed like a lot of information being thrown at these people. And we wanted ways of making like infographics, different resources and all that. So there's a lot more of like my graphic design skills came into play. And in addition to that, I also did a few like webinars and events where I got to meet a lot of lovely people. My role was remote, but as you can see there, that picture is actually with my team. So we were able to go for like lunch at the end. So it was mainly remote, but there was also the opportunity to go into the office as well. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I'm happy to hear you had an opportunity to meet the team. I know it's an important part of the experience, right? Is just getting to know your coworkers. So that's awesome. Thanks. All right, Robin, would you mind sharing?
Yeah, hi, my name is Robin. I'm in my 4th year of PPE, so politics, philosophy, and an honor specialization in economics. I was a planning employment intern for the regional municipality of Halton. This summer, one of the main projects that we worked on was Halton Region every year conducts their annual employment survey, which involves reaching out to all businesses, every business in the Halton region, and asking them to complete our employment survey, which lets the region know how many people are working at which business, full-time, part-time, and other important information as well, which we can then analyze and use to better understand planning employment trends and activities across the region. And I was mainly talking to businesses and encouraging them to participate in our survey this year.
Great, thank you, Robin. And we'll get into, I think, more of that. I know you have an interest in the regional politics side or the regional like municipality arrangement. So that'll be curious to hear from you a little bit about that later, maybe. So Alexi, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Alexi. I'm currently a 3rd-year student in the BMOS management program. I was hired as a marketing intern at Bunzl, Canada. The project I was working on was to create products and put them up on their website in order for people to purchase them. My personal responsibilities were to create product titles and product descriptions, and yeah, it was a great time.
Awesome. Yeah. So product marketing and getting your feet wet in that. So that sounds great. All right. So the next question I have is if you guys could each share the highlight, if there was a highlight of your internship experience for you, please share. It could be work related or the workplace culture related, whatever shines for you. Robin, would you mind starting?
Yeah, sure. So definitely a really big highlight of my summer was our final group presentation at the end of the summer. So I was on a team with about 6 to 7 people, and including myself. And basically what we did was that we spent the whole summer analyzing and collecting data from the businesses, which we then gathered together, and we actually did a final report in front of the entire planning and services department, really highlighting which key sectors and businesses in the Halton region were struggling with employment. So one of the main things we did as a team was that we would look at past employment years in 2021 and compare them to 2022 employment numbers, and really look at which certain businesses defined by different sectors, such as retail, food, professional services, and we would just see which areas were really struggling. And we analyzed them using Excel and pivot tables, and it really, really increased my knowledge in a lot of the online software like that.
Interesting. And how did you find the response from your presentation?
It was actually a really fun presentation. It was actually a really good bonding experience with my team. While most of the work was done pretty independently, I felt like the final presentation was where we really came together as a group, and we worked on Zoom for 8 hours a day, and we would just try and crank out this presentation. And it was very well received, and we got a pizza party after.
Awesome. Bonus, right? That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a really meaningful project. And I'm glad that you were given so much autonomy. I think a lot of interns think, or future interns think they might be getting coffee, or, you know, but these are the sort of things that you can contribute on internships. So that's great. Mohammed, would you like to share?
So, for my internship, a highlight of the internship was one day they brought brownies from a local London like bakery, and they were the best brownies I've ever had in my life. It was amazing. I ate like 3 of them. It was like really good. But on the more like professional side, it was when I went on like a little work field trip where we did like pictures of film locations to post on the website to bring like film companies to shoot in London. And I got to learn and I got to talk to like local business owners in London and learn about their experiences with like COVID and dealing with that, and how it's been to bounce back, and how like the policies of the city have influenced the way that they do business, right? So that was the highlight of the internship for me.
Yeah, that must have been really interesting. And Mohammed, I have to ask you where the brownies are from, if you remember.
I don't remember,
Okay.
but it had just opened. It's a new like kind of like bakery dessert place in downtown London.
Okay.
So I don't know
Yep.
which
We
one
got
it
it.
is.
No problem. We'll have
Okay.
to search down, maybe even on the LDC website, some bakeries and track them down. But thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, that's really interesting about the film industry push as well in London and how that's growing. Alexi, could you share your highlight?
Oh yeah, of course. My position was fully remote, and it was the highlight of my internship was definitely working with my coworkers on Zoom meetings, where it was pretty tough doing a full remote job as there's not much human contact. But whenever I had a Zoom meeting, it really helped me push through the internship and complete the projects throughout the internship. And it was definitely the small chats that I had with my coworkers, talk about Lord of the Rings or some other random topics. But yeah, they really helped me.
Yeah, and would you say that's something you learned about yourself too, is just how important that human connection is on the job? Has it influenced what you might try next?
Yeah, I agree. You definitely, I believe you have to see what you're looking for. Fully remote jobs are not the best for everybody, and it's just for me, I just found out it's just not my cup of tea. So I might be looking in the future for a hybrid or in-person positions.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, and you're able to kind of find your way through despite the challenges, for sure. Raha, what was your highlight?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the really special opportunities with working with nonprofits or like with the Canadian Cancer Society is feeling like you're really making a difference, and you're talking to a lot of people with lived experiences, and it just really hits home sometimes about why they started doing research, or why like just feeling like they're making an impact, just being part of the funding process and choosing which research gets funded, and feeling like their voice is being heard. And hearing those stories was just amazing. And like just feeling like you're actually like making a difference was really impactful. And that's why I've always thought, like, from this experience, I've kind of thought maybe nonprofit could be something I would be willing to like continue to partake in and like work with. I think it just really makes what you're doing feel really meaningful, and you feel satisfied with the work you do at the end of the day. I also learned another highlight was when they sent over, because it was remote, they sent over like a monitor, a computer, like they sent over all this stuff, and I was like, wow, I feel great with all this. And I also learned I love monitors, so now I really want one myself. But I did learn I love working remote. I think it's great, but I think also like a hybrid would be ideal for me if possible. But honestly, I love working remote and it was great. And I think having the one like field trip or lunch that we had really just sent it home and ended up being really good. And I made a lot of great connections.
Yeah, that's great. It is true if you're interested in like a value-driven workplace, like nonprofit often has that to offer, or just looking at the culture and values of a private sector firm as well. You know, depending on your interests, it's a great way to identify if you think it'll be a good fit for you. And but yeah, good for you. And getting the tech is great, especially for nonprofit. It's strapped for resources, but they set you up and made sure you were successful, which is great. The next two questions are more related to the job search, because of obviously the people here today are in that phase, you know, thinking about, you know, what they'll have to do to get an internship and be successful. So if you could speak to how you went about your search and what you think helped you get that job offer in the end. So if it was accessing your network, attending events or coffee chats, using LinkedIn, anything that you think kind of worked for you. So Mohammed, could you share your experience?
Yeah, so I started my job search in maybe January, like kind of in the winter time, and I was working really hard, but I had some trouble getting positions, getting interviews and things like that. I did a lot of like cold emailing, so I'd go through like company websites or LinkedIn's, find someone to email to, and then like kind of like give a email elevator pitch. And so that's what I kind of went about it. I did a lot of that. I looked through LinkedIn like job postings and applied to those. And ultimately that's what got me the job. And I also applied to positions through the Western like social sci, like the Western Connect page, the social sci internship portal. But ultimately my job applications through LinkedIn are what landed me the interview, and then that got me the job. And so that's why that was most of my internship search experience.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so it sounds like you just that positioning in your email was a really effective way to get yourself forward and to use the LinkedIn path. Yeah, absolutely. Robin.
I kind of took a little bit of a different approach than Mohammed did. Sorry. Similar to him though, I started my job search definitely at the beginning of January. I think even a little bit after Christmas break, even before the new year. I really think trying to get in early is definitely the key. A lot of job positions, like for example, the job position that I ended up getting, I think the deadline closed January 7th, which meant that if you started looking at the beginning of January, they were already accepting applications in the end of December. So I really did a lot of job applications during Christmas break. I thought that 2-week break or like your winter break there is a really good opportunity to start looking. You're not really doing school, there's not a lot going on. And I was just able to really spend and dedicate a couple days just to applying to jobs. It is a lot. It can be a lot of work, and I think it is a lot of work, especially if you're genuinely trying to get a good job. I think I applied to over 30 to 40, I think I applied to 30 to 40 positions. Most of them were through Western Connects, and then a lot of them were also just Googling and finding them on Google. I know Google, I looked a little bit at LinkedIn and I looked a little bit on Indeed, but I would say the main ones were me looking for specific companies and going to them. For example, I applied to a lot of positions at Deloitte, the consulting firm. I applied to a lot of positions at TD, RBC, and all of those positions. And that was me actively going to their website and to their career page and looking for them there if they weren't on Western Connects specifically. And then I also got another job offer as a camp director in Muskoka or something, which I applied through Western Connects as well. So I ended up actually this summer getting 2 job offers through Western Connects. And then I also got a job offer just from me applying on websites. But I ended up going with the Halton Region one, which I found on the Western U Connects.
Awesome, thank you. And Robin, just to clarify, was the camp counselor on the regular job postings board, I would think?
That was, no, I'm pretty sure that was in the general, like, it may have been, but I'm pretty sure like I had to go on Western Connects. I had to go on there and I found it. It was like the camp director. It wasn't like a camp counselor. It was like running the entire camp. And it was I'm not quite exactly sure where I found it though on the
No
Western.
problem. Yeah, no, I just thought to clarify because just for students who are interested in even non-internship, there's 2 spots you can go and connect. So I was just curious if you were really like navigating all the different options or not, but I'm really glad. I knew the region of Halton was through the portal, but thank you for sharing. It sounds like you really accessed a lot of different tools and resources and put the time in. And I love the tip on Christmas. It's true. You can get ahead of that, and we'll definitely be mindful of that when talking to employers, maybe making some deadlines to allow that time. So thanks for the feedback. Alexi, what did you do to land your job?
Yeah, so I began my job search around January. So I began with the classic Indeed, LinkedIn job online forums and postings, and also used the Western Connect listings as well. What I found to be helpful for me was to tailor my resumes and cover letters for each job. And I found after doing that, I was able to obtain more interviews than what I had before. And that would really help me get my position what I had over the summer.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. It's something we strongly encourage. I think you're so right that it's a balance between volume, like what Robin mentioned, like applying to lots of positions, keeping an open mind, and then also taking that time to slightly tailor things so that they feel represented in the documents and that you'll have more success that way. Yeah, so I think great suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Raha.
So I went a little bit of a different route than everyone. So I started the internship program about 2 summers ago, was looking pretty late. So then I ended up not doing something 2 summers ago. And then I came this summer and I have a very busy year. So I actually I looked at the Connect portal a few times. I wasn't also set on doing a full-time job. Like I was pretty open. I was like part-time, full-time. I also did like the research internship this summer. So I had a part-time already lined up, but I still checked because I was like, I'm very open. And there was nothing really I was seeing for me, like as a psych student. There's a lot of HR and things like that. And then I think it was around February when I saw the Canadian Cancer Society one. And I was like, I'm going for that. That seems perfect. This is so interesting. And I was actually looking through my email to see when I actually applied, and it was March 3rd. So even if it still seems really late, like I was a little bit stressed because I was like, this is so late. I'm not finding anything, but it's okay. Like things come like on an ongoing basis. One thing that I found that I think really helped me for my interview specifically is I went through the requirements of, not the requirements, what the position entailed. And I saw that they were doing the specific programming around the PCS or Patient Caregiver Survivor program. And I went and researched that and I brought that up during the interview. So I really recommend, I think that was something that might have set me apart, was that initial research and, like showing that you actually like have a passion and an interest and you're taking the time to research about the company or what your position entails is really important. And yeah, I was really lucky to end up doing it and it ended up being great. So
that's awesome. Yeah, two definitely key things is the persistence and the patience. You're right, like the opportunities are on a continuous basis. So keep looking. And then yeah, you make a great point about the importance of doing your research. So really the recruiters want to see themselves in your application and see that you care about their work. Absolutely. So good for you for finding something. I'm so glad that you had that experience. So yeah, my second question is tied to that actually, what Alexi and Raha were getting more to the nitty gritty of how you stand out. So researching the company, yeah. Look, is there any other resources or things that helped you, or do you feel like you said, and I'll just open up to anyone, you don't have to answer, but is there anything else you'd add, either Robin or Mohammed, or anyone, to other things that you think set you apart or were helpful?
Yeah, I can jump in here. One of the main things I always did, as already been mentioned, is definitely tailoring your cover letter is really, really important. Making sure that your cover letter really represents what you're applying for. Generic cover letters, like I think one of the main things that you guys always advise is just like tweak your cover letter to make sure that it works. And one of the things that I did that may have been a little bit different was that for big companies that I was applying to, I would apply to a lot of positions at a singular company. And I would really do my research on the company and try and find, they normally have a mission statement, most companies, or an objectives they want to accomplish, like very generic values of integrity, values of collaboration. And I would try and find a way to slip those very casually into the cover letter so that they don't think I'm like copying and pasting it from their mission statement, but that they realize that maybe I've read their mission statement and that I'm incorporating that somewhat into the cover letter as well.
Awesome, great advice. Anyone else? All right, well, I have one more question, and this came from the last info session. And I think it was a great question. How much experience did you have before this internship? So I think that's a big concern of students is, you know, I've only worked, you know, one summer job, or I only have done clubs, but what would you say to that? And how, like, how much experience did you bring to the table before this experience? Anyone can answer.
So I can answer it. I came into the internship with zero work experience. I hadn't worked a single job. This internship was my first work experience job. But yeah, so I like for my resume, it was just extracurriculars, other things I had done, but in terms of work experience, I had none. So for me, what was big was kind of showing how I had transferable skills from those leadership positions that I had in extracurricular activities, and bring that and kind of tie that into the position.
Yes, definitely don't underestimate your co-curricular, your extracurriculars, your volunteer, anything hands-on that can show employers you have done important things like this will be important. So thanks. All right, so because of the time, I'm just going to open it up to questions first for the panelists before you ask for questions to me. If you have anything specifically for any of the panelists, feel free to enter that into the chat. See, maybe we covered it all. All right, I don't see anything coming in. So another thing I'll just say is if you do have a question for any of the panelists, if the panelists are willing, and it's completely optional, you can add your LinkedIn link or your UWO email to the chat, and students maybe could reach out to you that way, whatever you're comfortable with. And if you don't get to it now, just let me know later if you're willing to accept those type of questions. So yeah, that's it. And I think other than that, you guys are welcome to enjoy the rest of your day, and we can open it up to other questions about the program. But thank you so much for coming, Raha, Mohammed, Robin, and Alexi. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
So Eileen, was there anything from earlier that you think?
No, I didn't see any questions from earlier, but we can open it up now maybe, and there'll be some.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm just seeing a few direct messages that I'll review. Okay, let's see. Okay, so one question I received was, are we able to apply for abroad internships through this program? So international opportunities. We have had students find their own international opportunities that counted toward the program credit because it met our criteria. So we don't restrict location. That being said, we don't typically post international roles. It's rare through our portal. So I would suggest if you're interested in a broad experience, you might want to look to Western International, learning abroad, exchange. I think they do also have an internship abroad, and I could try to find a link. But yeah, it's not very common through our program. Another thing is, Braha mentioned research-based opportunities. So if you're looking to research Western roles like research assistant at Western positions, typically that's through the university research internship program. So again, you can ask me more about that by email, or if that's something you're more interested in, you can explore that program. Okay, question coming in. Thank you so much. Looks like the panelists have written their contact information if you are interested in reaching out. Madison, if we cannot find a job that tailors to our interest, is there a penalty for not accepting? Can we reapply the following year? Yes, so typically there's a point in time where you want to bow out of the application process if you're not interested in taking the job. So we do have a rule that, you know, if you've had an interview and you've accepted, you've gone through the process and they give you an offer and you decline, you can only decline twice, and then we would remove you from the program. Again, just trying to emphasize the importance of the employer's time and and their investment. So I would say when you apply, like definitely apply, but if you get that interview request and you have some doubts, you might want to just say, I withdraw my application at that point. But if you really think it's a possibility, do attend the interview. I don't want to discourage you. In terms of other penalties, no. So if you just don't receive a job offer, there's no fee or no academic penalty. And yes, you can apply again the next year overall, if you're eligible still. Thanks, Eileen. So Eileen's thrown in the internship abroad. All right, is there anything else? I think we've lost a couple people, probably going to class, but oh, somebody has asked me about the recording. So I'm going to send that out right after this so you can watch in full from there. Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can email us at socialscientintern@uwo.ca. We are in Social Science 2040. Today I'm a bit late. I have a sign on the door, but for the most part, we're here Tuesday to Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m. So drop by, or you can make an appointment. So if this hour doesn't work for you with classes, just send an email and we can find an alternative time to have a Zoom call or an in-person chat. So with that, I'll leave you to the rest of your day. Have a good one. Thanks.